Hey guys, so I've seen some comments from players that are having some issues with the Day 2 Dark Visions magical fight. The thing is, a lot of players are getting really hung up on the fact that it's a magical ice or darkness stage, and they just don't own any magical ice or darkness mages whatsoever, and they're, struggling a little bit. So something to keep in mind, these early bosses especially, you don't have to stay on element. If you don't have any of the proper element units, you can absolutely go off element. So even though this is a magical ice and darkness stage, you can use any element mage you want. Now, the big thing to keep in mind is you do want to stay on damage type. Now, these recent Dark Visions, they've made the enemies have really, really lopsided stats. So it has way, way, way higher defense. So it's really hard to go off damage type. Even with like premium dark and ice units, it's still pretty hard to damage cap if you're not using magical damage. It's possible, but if you're struggling on this, you're going to also struggle even if you're going physical off type. On the other hand, magical off type is totally fine to do. So we're going to go in with and just a super, super bare bones minimum clear, no STMRs other than Terra's own. We are using one STMR, her personal STMR. And for real this time, this really is seriously budget. So anyway, so we're going to use Avalanche Jessie to just fill her LB gauge with Midgar special 3 times. Zahn can just guard. We're going to use Elena for a resist all buff, just so we don't got to worry about tanking or survivability. And we'll use Terra to do her setup for her burst. Jessie is provoking with evasion, and we've got now 100% resist all from Elena. There is some elemental AoE, as you see there, we immuned it, not a problem. So now we're going to use Jessie to use her LB. It's an 87% break and a 120 all in peril. We're going to go back to the base form with Elena, and we'll just support chain AR and double SR, and Zahn will support chain AR and double SR. Now you can swap the chainers out for whatever you're most comfortable with. I have seen some comments saying AR, SR is a little hard to chain for you. Whatever is good for you for chaining, go for it. As you can see, we've got 2 empty party slots. Fill them with whatever you want. And then Terra will just do her LB and cap. So Terra's LB is really slow, so we're going to give it a moment. Now we're going to send our support chainers. So we need 8.16. We did 9.5, and I'll show you the gear in a second. So there you go. 4 party slots, basically all naked other than Terra, using the most cheapest gear possible. I'll show it to you in a second. And we still damage capped. We needed 8.16. We did 9.5. 2 empty party slots. Could have been filled with whatever you want. Only an 87% break. If you've got like Louise or what's the girl's name? Save Your Lightning or Cacteria for 89% spirit break, you'll deal tons more damage. If you don't have Terra, you can use like Luna Freya. You can use even things like Diverti are fine here. Anything you want. As long as it's magical damage dealers. Magical damage is the big key here. Stay with mages, but any element you want is totally fine. So here's the team we use. So we use Jessie. She has pass or provoke naturally. So we just gave her evasion, some LB fills, so we can get her LB on turn 2. You could have gone longer. You could have gone to turn 3. If it takes you longer to fill her LB gauge, you go to turn 3. It's fine. So yeah, her LB is an 87% defense and spirit break. Obviously, that's super budget. 89 or 90 is significantly stronger. Zahn is just using a fire weapon because we do have to get that weakness damage score. So fire weapon and his TMR so we can triple cast. He can be literally any support chainer. He didn't do any like Zahn shenanigans with stealing buffs and all. He was just a support chainer. Elena, base form, fire weapon, and then her STMR or TMR so that she can triple cast. Shift form, naked. So she was only here for the 100% resist all buff, just so you can completely brainlessly do the turn 1 stuff. I don't know what the boss does. What does the boss do? You could have used resistance gear. Lightning and wind damage. So you could have used a lightning and a wind resist buff, or you could have used like Mirage, you could have used a tank. But I mean, just toss in Elena. And she support chains as well. And then Terra, Is just a really really old mage. She's a good mage, but she's an old mage. I figured most people have her. Naked in the base form, we didn't use it. Shift form, her own personal card. The only STMR we did use was her personal chronicle weapon, so we did use a STMR, one STMR. Other than that, like, this is all free gear. So Blood Sword was an event sword. It's free. It's just a magical sword. It doesn't really do anything. You know, it does have a passive, but this is completely irrelevant. It's just a sword. You know, obviously STMRs are way better. So if you've got like a second Terra STMR, or you know, I should have used the Dark Visions rod. Whatever. Anyway, there you go. And then the head is a trial reward. The Lupine Guard quest reward. Cursed Doll trial reward. Freesia Poncho event reward. And then some 3 and 4 star TMR. We didn't even use Rainbow TMR. Oh, we did actually. The Mightiest is from Squall. Whoops. Okay, so 1 5-star TMR, and then some 3-star TMRs. So yeah, super easy to cap this guy if you're using mages. 200, 240, and 225. I mean, obviously you can gear Terra significantly better than I just did. But there you go. So, you know, I just want to put that out there that if you're having problems with the magical fight, don't get hung up on the element. If you don't have the proper element, going off element is okay. Just stick to mages and you'll be fine. Okay, see you next time.